Congress enacted the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988 to address illegal drug activity in public housing. Department of Housing and Urban Development versus Rucker explores the scope of that act. The Anti-Drug Abuse Act requires that public housing leases contain a provision allowing eviction if a tenant, a member of the tenant's household, or the tenant's guest engaged in drug-related criminal activities on or off the premises. The Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, enacted regulations permitting eviction even if the tenant didn't know and had no reason to know about the offending criminal activity. The regulations further provided that local housing authorities had discretion to consider all relevant circumstances in eviction decisions. Pearlie Rucker rented an apartment from the Oakland Housing Authority, or OHA. Her lease contained a provision allowing OHA to evict if she or another household member engaged in drug-related activity on or near the property. Rucker's daughter, who also lived in the apartment, was found with drugs a few blocks away. OHA instituted eviction proceedings against Rucker in California State Court. Rucker and several other public housing tenants who were facing eviction sued HUD and OHA in federal district court. Rucker alleged that the act didn't require public housing leases to contain a provision allowing for eviction if the tenant wasn't personally aware of the drug activity, and if it did, Rucker argued that the act was unconstitutional. The district court entered a preliminary injunction. It enjoined OHA from terminating leases for drug-related activity that didn't occur in a tenant's apartment if the tenant didn't know and had no reason to know about it. The Ninth Circuit reversed. An en banc panel of the Ninth Circuit reversed that decision and affirmed the district court's entry of a preliminary injunction. It found that HUD's interpretation of the act was inconsistent with congressional intent. Congress didn't intend to allow for evictions of tenants who didn't know and had no reason to know about a guest or household member's drug activity. The United States Supreme Court granted cert.